What's up, everybody? Circus here, coming at you with a discussion video with Negative1. We're gonna be talking about Lightning Vortex and how it might impact the game. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, doing well.
So we wanted to talk about it because it's been leaked, and we're pretty sure that the leaks are legit. So if this card is indeed coming to the game, do you think it's gonna have a big impact?
I would definitely say it's gonna get played. How much it's gonna like define the metagame is up for debate, but I definitely think it'll be used. If at the very least it's gonna get cited a lot.
Okay. So what kind of impact do you think it's gonna have, like just in general, on how people are gonna play the game?
Well, I think the primary strength is that it's effective against blue eyes.
Hmm.
So one of the primary side deck cards against blue eyes has been Special Hurricane. However, Lightning Vortex is just an upgraded Special Hurricane. So I think for that reason, Lightning Vortex is gonna, get used. If not in the main, definitely in the side.
Okay, so it's in this box with harpies. Is it worth going into the box? Let's say you have no interest in harpies. Harpies sucks. Is it worth going into the box just for this card?
I would say it depends what deck you're gonna play. I don't
Hmm.
think it's gonna get used in every deck, but I definitely could see this being, splashed around in a lot of strategies.
So it's not like a Book of Moon, which is obviously in the selection box that you are. This is going to be a mini box SR. So do you think it's just going to be? I just feel like it's going to be all over the place.
I think because it's in a mini box, it definitely will be more accessible. More people will try to go for it, and I think on ladder you're definitely going to see a lot of it because I think the deck that can really use it well is Blue Eyes at the
Hmm.
moment.
Well, let me discuss that a little bit. Tell me how you think Blue Eyes can benefit from it.
Well, the Blue Eyes strategy is very centered around Whitestone of the Ancients. So any card that can discard Whitestone of the Ancients is immediately just like, can we use this in Blue Eyes?
Right.
That is the first question everybody asks. So you see Karma Cut gets used all the time in Blue Eyes, and that card's really good.
Hmm.
Um, so Lightning Vortex clears out an entire board and it discards one. So even if it's only usable on your turn, it's still like a very valuable card
I
in
was going
Blue
to ask
Eyes.
you, do you see people using it over or instead of Karma Cut? Because that's one thing we did some play testing. We saw that Karma Cut was better because you can interact on your opponent's turn. I was playing against Harpy, so we're just play testing. But I found I wanted to hit that first summon, so it was Karma Cut on that first summon. Whereas Vortex, it was almost too late. I couldn't even get a second turn. You know what I mean? Because I had to
Yeah.
wait till my turn to use it.
Well, the strength of Karma Cut and Raigeki Break is definitely that it can interrupt the opponent. However, there's also the important factor of you want to consider how strong is this card to like clear an established board, and that's where like Lightning Vortex really shines, whereas Karma Cut doesn't really, get a whole lot of value
Hmm.
because it's slower. Um, so I don't think you're gonna replace Karma Cut with Lightning Vortex, but it's probably one of those things where you're gonna see them side by side. Maybe like the standard going forward will be like one Lightning Vortex, but still like 2 to 3 Karma Cut or
Oh, okay.
Raigeki Break,
All right.
something like that.
So Blue Eyes definitely can use this. What about Water Deck? That's probably the second most played deck right now.
I think the issue with water is that it doesn't really draw a lot of cards and it doesn't really search a lot of cards.
Hmm.
So you do summon from deck with Diva, and you can summon from deck with what's it called, Buzzsaw Shark. So with those you can kind of generate advantage, but those are monsters onto the field. You can't really draw cards with any of your monsters. You can't really search cards with any of your monsters.
Hmm.
So for that reason, I think Water won't really want to run it, just because they can't afford to wait with a Lightning Vortex
So you can
just to
kind of
discard another card.
right. So you can kind of thin the deck, but you're not like directly drawing raw cards like Blue Eyes does.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So that's more of a detriment to them than anything. So you don't expect them to run it then.
Nah, I don't think so.
All right. Maybe a similar deck, maybe not, but Automats.
I think Automat is another deck that kind of wants to see like wants their cards in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to have like all of their cards as tools to play the game. Um, I could see Automat actually using it just because Gaga Sister can search a Gaga Speller Trap. I think it's a Speller Trap from the deck, and then it's a free discard for Lightning Vortex. And the
Right.
deck already will like to run Offerings to the Doom, so it's not against running -1s just because it's an OTK deck. As long as it OTKs the opponent, it doesn't matter how many cards it has.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, I don't play automats too much, so I'm not sure how much it will really benefit the deck. I think the matchups where automat are struggling aren't really the matchups where Lightning Vortex is going to, I think, like win them the game.
Okay. All right. So far that's 1 out of 3 decks. What about Thunder Dragons? I'm thinking of the top 5 decks right now. Thunder Dragons. What about them?
Thunder Dragons. I think Thunder Dragons is in a strange spot because it generally wants to see more monsters. So for that reason, it might not want to run like a spell and trap card.
Mm-hmm.
You think like, okay, what decks were really wanting to run Book of Moon, and Thunder Dragons wasn't one of them. Automat sometimes ran Book of Moon, so it might like sometimes run Lightning Vortex. So that's like the lines you kind of want to be thinking about.
Aren't they
So
kind of the same thing where they're not really drawing a whole lot of cards though? And a lot of them are playing 30 card decks. Are they going to see it a lot?
probably not. Like the strength of Thunder is mostly searching cards and then milling cards,
Yeah.
and then
Hopefully you draw into
through
something if you get rid of enough cards.
yeah, and through using Thunder Dragon Dark and Thunder Dragon Roar, special summoning from the deck and searching from the deck so that you have floating and um, bodies
Mm-hmm.
and attributes engraved.
All right. I know you're always a big one on consistency, so that doesn't sound very consistent though, having that card on that deck.
No, I think Thunder Dragon would definitely benefit more from a more, how should I say, a more monster based interruption or
Mm-hmm.
counter option. Like Thunder Dragon would benefit more from like a DD Crow because it's a dark, or a Sphere Kribo because it's a dark. It's
Okay.
defense. So Thunder has always really benefited from monsters that are either light or dark that can either be defense or interruptions.
All right. So that we're still at 1 out of 4. The last deck that usually makes the power rankings, that is Stick and Chair Dark Lords. Any hope here?
I think it's very possible. Because Stick and Share Dark Lords is one of those decks that has it's been considered to have a bad Blue Eyes matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So Blue Eyes, when you see Dark Lords being played in a lot of team events or big events, Blue Eyes is generally considered like the only deck that has a good matchup against Dark Lord,
Mm-hmm.
or one of the few decks to have a good matchup against Dark Lord. So Lightning Vortex is very effective at just clearing a Blue Eyes field. So for that reason, Dark Lord could very possibly use Lightning Vortex.
And they have a pretty good draw engine too, right?
Yeah, Dark Lord decks, modern Dark Lord decks are typically running 4 to 5 one-ofs.
Mm-hmm.
And because it has Ixchel to draw 2 cards, and it also has the Star Seraph engine to draw a lot of cards, they typically do see those one-ofs a lot more than other decks see their one-ofs.
In case you guys are new to the channel, Nag always preaches like if you have a deck that doesn't draw cards very well, you want to have multiple copies of a card in a deck. But if you have a deck that can draw very well. You can run a bunch of 1-ups because more than likely you're going to draw into them, right?
Yeah, that is like the general game plan, because if you don't have the power to like draw a bunch of cards, you want to consistently see the cards that you do want to draw. But if you do have draw power, then just having more options is like slightly better in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
cases.
Oh, and one I almost forgot, Fire Kings. What about Fire Kings?
I definitely think Fire Kings could use Lightning
Mm-hmm.
Vortex. Yeah. So Fire Kings struggle against Blue Eyes because of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and if they draw the Lightning Vortex, it will just clear the field, and then Spirit Dragon can no longer negate the Fire King effects in Graveyard.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
there's also the benefit of if a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon will tag out early to, play around the Lightning Vortex. So
Mm-hmm.
they kind of expect their opponent to have Lightning Vortex, so they activate early, summon an Azure Eyes, and then, okay, my monsters are safe. And Fire Kings will actually be in a fine position because then their effects in Graveyard can activate freely.
Okay, so it won't hurt them too bad. So Fire Kings being able to use it. So that's 3 out of the 6 decks that we've been talking about. Then, were there any others you had in mind?
I would say, as for right now, the main one that I would think might come back into the meta, possibly, is Invoked Neos.
Oh God.
Everyone's favorite deck, but
Yeah. Okay.
Invoked Neos, as many people know, would use Volcanic Shell to draw cards or search the deck for Volcanic Shell, and then
Mm-hmm.
use Fire Reload, shuffle those cards back. And Lightning Vortex is a really good way to put a shell into grave and then clear the board. And it's just a deck that is fine discarding cards. So I definitely could see maybe Invoke Neos coming back to some degree, or people experimenting with the deck just to see if Lightning Vortex helps it.
You know, people probably weren't thinking of that until you said that.
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna find out now. Thanks. You're a trendsetter. You got to remember that. With great power comes great responsibility, Neg. I'm disappointed in you.
All right, cut this out in post.
All right. We're going to get out of here, guys. I think Lightning Vortex is going to be a great card, or it's going to shake up the meta. I hope it forces people to rethink their builds and rethink their decks. And anytime that happens in the meta, I enjoy it. But I think you're going to see a lot of it on the ladder, so get used to that. I know it's not going to be fun seeing that, but all right, we're going to get out of here. Like I said, you should get in our Discord because it's free. The terms are free. The new player help is free. There's all kinds of great stuff going on in there. So I'm Circus. That's Neg.
Take it easy.
And we'll see you next time.